Originally, I wanted to review this episode from Adventure Time in Season 2, The Eyes, because I had fond memories of this episode, for mainly of how over the top it is when it comes to the main characters trying to get rid of the thing that kept themselves from sleeping. But after watching the later seasons episodes that had similarities towards this is another opportunity to do another analysis video by comparing two episodes that was released earlier and the other being released later, because with Adventure Time having 10 seasons, it's no surprise that they're likely going to take some ideas from old episodes, all the while doing a twist when it comes to the thing that they're encountering with a different obstacle. But to tell you the truth, I never seen people complain about the amount of seasons Adventure Time has gotten in comparison to any other show that had multiple seasons. In fact, I never heard a person say that Adventure Time went into season a lot. But then again, this is always a first when it comes to a show that does so many ideals, and whenever I witness them, I always think of comparisons, which is why that this video exists in the first place. The similarities that the two episodes have is that while the Eyes episode centers around Finn and Jake trying to sleep, and there's a horse that is spying on them during the nights while they can't be able to sleep. While in this episode, Blank-Eyed Gar herself is spying on Finn and Jake, which really terrifies them to the point that she's more terrifying than the horse from the Eyes episode. It's no surprise that I'm one of those people who didn't enjoy Adventure Time as a whole, especially when it comes to the later episodes. And watching this Season 2 episode really sums up why that the first two seasons was something that I can only enjoy alone, while in the later seasons it's just difficult to go attached to when it comes to the changes they made. But I'm not gonna lie, the Season 7 episode, Blank-Eyed Gar, really got me so impressed to the point that it's basically a version of the Eyes done better, but not in a way, well, it's ripping the episode off. The setting is all taking place at Finn and Jake's treehouse, but the difference is that Finn is trying to find some solutions after calling Starchy when he's doing his radio show when it comes to paranormal activity. And to tell you the truth, that's basically where the episode is a lot more different in comparison to the Eyes episode. Granted, there are similarities when it comes to the Eyes episode, but as far as I'm concerned, every time I watch this episode, it's slightly funnier than the Eyes episode. The humor of the Eyes episode is, well, Finn and Jake, after doing so much work throughout the entire week or so, deserve a break, and then when the horse comes to mess up their slumber, they do everything that they can in order to get rid of it, all the while arguing with each other, which for me personally, it's surprising that in the later seasons we don't get to see this type of banter in a way, well, it's actually humorous. But at the same time, the first two seasons' dialogue when it comes to this type of banter was, well, the characters were mostly taking themselves seriously in a way of being mostly aware of what is going on right in front of them, mainly the horse itself. I know it's difficult to believe, but for someone who only enjoys the first two seasons, it's gonna be difficult for me to address why I didn't like the rest of the Adventure Time series, aside from a few episodes. Anyway, with the two trying other ways to get rid of the horse, and the horse just ends up coming back, I really feel like that every time that this episode continues when it comes to Finn and Jake's strategy of getting rid of the horse, It's honestly their own way of thinking while trying to stay awake in any other capacity due to the horse haunting them. Not really haunting them, but mainly creeping them the heck out to the point that they can't be able to sleep. And the similarities when it comes to the two episodes is that Jake is trying to play the violin in order to lure the horse away, while in Blank-Eyed Gore, Jake plays the clarinet when it comes to the information that Finn got from the radio show, but this only led to more Blank-Eyed Gores coming in, making it 6 instead of 1. And judging of how Blank-Eyed Gore did it better when it comes to the mystery centering around the Blank-Eyed Gores in comparison to the horse, it made me feel like that the later seasons, even if I did not enjoy them, still had concepts that they can slightly do better than the earlier seasons. Even though that there are some occasions where the earlier seasons episodes can do better than the later seasons episodes, it really feels like that they wanted to make this episode, despite not being Halloween related, but also creepy related when it comes to people staring at you in the night, making themselves creepy, but in a mysterious way, to a whole new level. Because the Eyes episode, even if I may enjoy it from beginning to end, Cartoon Network still spoiled the episode when it comes to its promos by revealing that Ice King was inside the horse the entire time, making the majority of the episode predictable, but this episode isn't meant to be taken seriously or meant to be better like any other episodes that were taking the stakes a lot more higher. The reason why Ice King spied on Finn and Jake during the night is because he wants to understand why Finn and Jake were happy all the time, and since they took away their happiness when it comes to his picnic with one of the princesses, it's kind of foreshadowing on the fact that he was spying on them, even though it didn't take away that Cartoon Network spoiled the episode during its promos back when this show was brand new. With this episode continuing Ice King's character growth when it comes to the Christmas episodes and him reuniting with Marceline, this episode was a lot more different than it was back then from my perspective. I have to admit that if it wasn't for Ice King's character growth, then this episode's ending would have been the way it was when it comes to Finn and Jake sleeping, meaning that this episode was mostly a filler episode. Like, it's still a filler episode, but if you're looking into the perspective of Ice King's character growth, it's not really a filler episode when it comes to him trying to find happiness. When it comes to the final minutes of Blank-Eyed Gore, Finn's solution is to ignore the Blank-Eyed Gores completely by pretending that they're not even there, while Jake is the total opposite because he is extremely terrified, which leads to the funniest jokes from this show, from my perspective at least. He tries to get the Blank-Eyed Gores out of his mind by thinking of many things, but apparently it didn't work out for him and he officially gives up. Even though that I don't find Jake as one of my funniest characters in cartoons, I have to admit that him in this episode is at his best when it comes to comedy. And when they witness that the Blank-Eyed Gores are not really gores entirely when it comes to the lens that they had on, it's also revealed that they're also cloud people, but with no faces whatsoever. They terrify Finn and Jake by leaving while BMO says the final line of the episode. It was beautiful. Even though it's not the exact same quote, she did say beautiful, which I have to admit I agree with her, but I also agree on the fact that they're also terrifying, which sums up onto why I prefer this episode over the season 2 episode. Every time I look at the Blanked Eye Gores, it really makes me feel like that Finn and Jake are actually being haunted. In comparison to the horse, well, all the trouble is mainly them trying to get rid of it while trying to get to sleep after the hard work that they went through. But considering most of the comedy centers around the interactions and them just trying to get rid of the horse that's driving them into sanity, believe me, it really sums up a lot that I remember this episode the most of rewatching it when I was new to the franchise. But still, this became an interesting comparison after thinking about it through over the last several months of reconsidering on doing another Halloween Mania schedule for this year. And trust me when I say this, is that I'm not sure if I'm going to talk about the episode from Season 3 from Bad to Worse, considering I have mixed opinions towards it, but at the same time, if I'm not going to be able to review it next year, then there's a chance that I might do something different next year, or just tone down the schedules of Halloween altogether, considering I don't have to try too hard to do another Halloween schedule of reviewing 30 plus Halloween related episodes / specials, and you get the idea. Keep in mind, the scrapped plans that I always done from time to time may not happen, mainly of what I feel when it comes to the following year, because Halloween Mania may be on the wall, but at the same time, it's not going to continue the same tradition again and again in the same ways as Summerpalooza and my Christmas schedule, obviously, because there's going to be a point where I'm going to reach to my breaking point on doing less than more, like I did for this year and last year, but you never know, especially since that I'm planning on doing a Lonely Vibes video at the end of this month dedicating to my Halloween schedules. I'm giving The Eyes an 8 out of 10, while Blank Eyed Girl gets a 9 out of 10.